Market conditions remaining bearish in this bull market. We saw some volatility yesterday with the Fed's update, and we'll take a look at bonds here today. We're seeing momentum sitting clearly in this downtrend, this bearish trend zone still. We're also seeing breadth, which is sitting fairly stable right here in this trending location, and then we're seeing sentiment, which is still in that upper end of that extreme. So we're seeing momentum, and we're seeing sentiment towards the upper end of that range and getting momentum starting to pull back right here. That's still working on a pullback right here. But again, we're continuing to have a little bit of a tug of war right here. We're seeing buy-sell ratio sitting right at 0.47. So we've got a buy-sell ratio that's less than 1, which puts our overall bias still as bearish. When we have red above green right here, the overall market perspective is still bearish. And we get confirmation with that across the other indicators. We're seeing S&P 500 price pattern here. We saw a bit of a rally yesterday after the Fed had made their update, and then we saw it fade back down again. So this resistance area on S&P 500 around 508 actually held up again yesterday. So that's twice. It's really 3 times right now around 5010. 510, 508. And we'll watch to see. Looks like we've got a little bit of strength here this morning in the markets. If they can hold up support at this 500 level and break back out above that 508 level, that's really the area that we want to see more upside to. If we can hold this range that we're in right now, even going all the way down to this low, maybe even finding some support, see if we get resistance here. Let's keep an eye on these levels over the next day or two. We didn't see much movement in bonds yesterday after the Fed's update. Still sitting in this lower downtrend, still in an overall downtrend. Really needs to get going here and has a lot of work to do to move to the upside in order for those interest rates to start to pull back down a little bit. We're seeing overall sectors. See, we had any kind of shift yesterday. Still, we've got a handful of these 3 or 4 or 5 right here in the middle that keep going back and forth from this hold to this sell, and really nothing really showing any real strength other than utilities right here. We're also seeing gold trying to find some support right here around this 210. It's just stuck right in this middle range. We start to see that. We obviously know we have indecision, and we can also see that on the price chart. So from here, that indecision either finds support and starts to turn back up to the bullish side, or we start to continue to slide and then ultimately get a new downtrend or a new down signal. And we're actually getting that with oil right here. So oil is kind of broken down now through that support area and is now back down testing that 382. So this still is now working on that corrective zone. So this is momentum where we're holding this upper range. Once we break down through that, now we're working on correction, meaning we'll maybe find some support here and then higher, and then maybe it dips back down and then higher, but it could work on support inside of this range, and it's going to be a little bit tougher for oil, at least based on this current pattern, for additional upside without running into several resistance areas now, one major one sitting right here. So pretty big sell-off yesterday in USO. Let's take a look at the muscle stocks group and see if there's anything interesting there. ROOT, which is in the insurance space, has been a real big mover here for just this last 2 or 3 months, and had a big gap higher and a retracement back lower. It faded pretty hard after a big gap higher. I'm not sure if it had earnings or what the story was there on that one, but interesting stock. It just keeps showing up in that muscle stocks list, but finally got a bit of a retracement. It was going straight up here from 15 to 80 without even a retracement. Finally got a decent retracement and is back up towards the upper end of that range. Also have Carvana. I think they reported earnings today, and it was up big this morning. They may be gapping up higher significantly. A nice pattern there, but the gap may make it too extreme at this point. Keep an eye on this list. We're always seeing interesting stocks that are showing up in this list. We saw Garmin, which had a real big breakout on big volume. It'd be interesting to know what Garmin is working on to get some continued strength with their GPS services there as well. So new buy list, always a great place to focus on. Also in the muscle stocks group, as you're going through this list, you may find stocks that don't have a hold signal yet, but they do have a retracement pattern. For example, DAVE, a breakout, a retest of this area. Now you can see that bottoming tail bar, but it has yet to go from hold. But it still has a nice retracement pullback. So when we get these stocks that go to extreme and then they pull back this direction, then they're still in this uptrend, but sometimes they don't trigger into the new buy list. And so you've got to go back through and just look at a couple of these leaders that may be having some pullbacks and opportunity for entry into some retracement at those locations. That'll do it for today's update. Thanks, everyone. Have a fantastic day today.